Welcome, my dear students, to the new session and a new chapter, that is chapter number 8. And the name of the chapter is the measurement of viscosity. Okay. First, what is viscosity? Viscosity is nothing but the fluid resistance between layer to layer. Fluid resistance between layer to layer. Generally, what type of the fluids are there? Let me depict you. Okay. So first, before going for the subject, I told you that there are two types of liquids, my dear students. One is that is low viscous fluids and high viscous fluids. Now we are going to see that what are the examples of the high viscous fluids. Okay, high viscous fluids are different types of high viscous fluids. Okay, so what are the examples of high viscous fluids, my dear students? Okay, let me see. Okay, the high viscous fluids means the examples are castor oil. Next one is honey. Next one is glycerin, my dear students. Okay, glycerin. Glycerin. Okay, and what are the low viscous fluids? Let I am going to tell you. Okay, low viscous fluids means low viscous fluids means water, kerosene. Okay, high viscous fluids means always these liquids moves slowly. They are going to move very slowly, my dear students. Okay, but these liquids they move fastly. Okay, they move fastly means these liquids they don't move slowly. Okay, so here move fastly. Okay, these are the things that you need to remember over here. Okay, and viscosity. Okay, viscosity is taken in three different areas in measurement of flow, my dear students. In lubrication oils, that is to reduce the friction between the various parts of the body, and third one in paint industry. So viscosity measurement is a important three areas. First one is in flow measurement, that we are going to take it in flow measurement. Second one, we are going for the okay, the lubrication oils. Okay, in the manufacturing of the lubrication oils. Third one itself is a paint industry, my dear students. We are going to take it in paint industry, my dear students. Okay, and viscosity is a function. So on what factors viscosity depends means I told you that the viscosity is a function of, okay, if I am going to take it viscosity, okay, it is a function of, okay, the temperature and fluid pressure. It is a function of the temperature and fluid pressure. It depends upon. Okay, now here we are going to study two important parameters once again. Okay, I told you that viscosity is a function of temperature and fluid pressure. Okay, now what is the relation between the temperature and viscosity when we are going to take it in case of fluids, and when it is going to be taken in terms of okay, liquids? Okay, now if I am going to take it in terms of temperature versus viscosity relation. Okay, temperature versus viscosity relation. Temperature versus viscosity relation when comes into the picture. So as viscosity is inversely proportional to the temperature, this is in terms of where, this is in terms of fluids, liquids. If I am going to take it in terms of fluids, means as viscosity increases, the temperature decreases. But in gases, this parameter is different. Okay, so what happens? Viscosity is directly proportional to temperature. As viscosity increases, temperature also increases, my dear students. Okay, these are the things that we have to know, we have to study at the beginning of the concept, my dear students. Okay, now we are going for the viscosity measurement. Just I'm going to explain in a detailed manner the concept of viscosity in a detailed manner in coming slides. Okay, now viscosity measurement, I told you that the viscosity measurement means we have to know certain parameters. What are the parameters that we need to know? That is pretty important. Okay, to bring back the relation for the coefficient of viscosity, consider an area, whatever the area I'm going to take it, of stream area of the streamline flow of an incompressible liquid. Okay, incompressible liquid that I am going to take it in between. Let the velocities of the fluid at P, okay, fluid at P and Q as given in the figure. This figure is the velocity itself at the P is v plus dv, and q, that is at q is v respectively. The distance between P and Z, P and Q, the distance between both these two, the distance itself is how much? Dz, my dear students. There will be some friction between the two layers of the fluid. There will be a certain friction that is moving, that is in the two layers of the fluid, causing the velocity difference. That makes a velocity difference is going to be occurring. Okay, and see, because of the liquid is moving in this side and the frictional force is acting in this side. Okay, and see, because of the, I told you that the liquid moving in this side, there is a some friction that between, that is making the, okay, causing the velocity is going to be occurring in between these two particular, okay, that is in between these particular points P and Q, and this frictional backward force is called viscous drag. Okay, what are the frictional backward force that is acting opposite to the flow of the liquid, and that is called viscous drag. And what if profounded, what Newton has profounded from this particular concept means Newton found that, what the Newton has found that Newton found that the viscous drag, okay, or the viscous force, okay, that is viscous force is directly proportional to the area that is in between the area, that is A, and the and directly proportional to the velocity gradient, my dear students. Okay, and okay, the Newton found that this viscous drag is directly proportional to both the parameters. Okay, so what he has parameter, he found that see, when he has given this particular term, then he found that the very important relation is see, he found that f, okay, f is directly proportional to A, and f is okay, directly proportional to minus dv by dz, my dear students. And f, okay, by combining these two equations, that is taking out the parameters, then f is equal to, I'm going to call it as minus mu into a into dv by dz, my dear students, where mu is the coefficient of viscosity. Mu is the coefficient of viscosity, my dear students. This one itself is very important, and this one is what? The coefficient of viscosity. Okay, this is nothing but the coefficient of viscosity, my dear students. Okay, now here, what is the relation? So what is happening means, if I'm going to take it a equal to 1 and dv by dz equal to, it is also 1, then what happens, minus dv by dz, that is okay, negative of this one is equal to 1, then what happens, f is equal to mu. Now how can derive the particular expression means, the see, the coefficient of viscosity, okay, or simple viscosity is defined as a tangential backward force that acts between the two fluid layers of unit area and situated at unit distance, okay, having a unit relative velocity. Okay, now he has defined the velocity as a tangential backward force that is acting between the two fluid layers of unit area and unit distance apart, okay, and having the unit relative velocity, and he has defined that particular parameter by showing over here in this particular one, my dear students. He only has derived that this is a tangential backward force that is acting in this direction, okay, in between the two fluid layers. Okay, having the area is how much, this is 1, my dear students, and relative velocity is how much, dv by dz it is, that is also 1. Okay, then f is equal to automatically equal to mu, my dear students. Okay, these are the general Newton has performed the formula. Okay, now we are going for the units of viscosity. Okay, so I told you that the units of viscosity are very very important. The CGS units of viscosity is poise, my dear students. And generally the poise or we can represent in centipoise also. Okay, so units, CGS units is poise. 1 centipoise is how much? 0.01 poise. Okay, and unit, that is viscosity, SI unit is kg per meter, that is meter second, equal to how much it is equal, means 10 poise, my dear students. And there is one more unit for the viscosity in SI, that is called per square, that is Newton centimeter, that is Newton, okay, second per centimeter square. Okay, you can take it as minus out, Newton second. Sometimes it is also called as Poiseuille, that is called pi. Okay, or we can represent per Pascal second also. Okay, so 1 poise equal to how much Pascal seconds, means 1 poise equal to 0.1 Pascal second. Okay, 1 poiseuille is how much, means 10 poise are 1000 centipoise. Okay, 1 centipoise equal to how much, means 1 millipascal per second, my dear students. Okay, now here the very important thing is that see, there is a relationship between all these. The formulas are pretty important, my dear students. There is one more relation that is comes into the picture, and mu is called, what is mu? Mu, I told you, is called simply absolute viscosity, or simply we are going to call it as a dynamic viscosity. Okay, but there is one more viscosity, and that viscosity is called kinematic viscosity, my dear students. Okay, and that kinematic viscosity is this one. Kinematic viscosity is represented by V, and mu is called absolute or dynamic viscosity, and rho is the density of the fluids. And the units for this kinematic viscosity is Stokes. Okay, once Stokes are simply representing by S into T. So 1 centistoke, 1 CST is equal to 0.01 Stokes, my dear students. Okay, 0.01 Stokes, my dear students. Okay, with that, we are completed about the concept, the general concept of this particular, okay, the units of viscosity. Means different units are there in CGS system, poise, in SI system. We are representing the mu with kg per meter second. And if you are going for SI unit, there is one more unit that is called Poiseuille. And the units for the kinematic viscosity is also called, and that is called Stokes or Stokes. Now, what are Newton solids and what are non-Newtonian solids? Means Newton solids means Newtonian solids, or simply Newton solids means the fluids which obey the Newton's law. Okay, and the fluids which does not obey the Newton's law is called non-Newtonic fluids. Okay, the fluids which obey the Newton's law is examples are simply, I'm going to call it as a, okay, the liquids, okay, like petrol, kerosene, mineral oils, water, salt solutions. All these are Newtonian fluids. Okay, while ink, starch, peanut butter, chewing gum, all these things are the non-Newtonian fluids, my dear students. Okay, just we have to know the relation. What are the different types of Newtonian fluids and non-Newtonian fluids are there? Just I have depicted, my dear students. Here also, just I am depicting those particular relation over here. Okay, so here I am depicting what are the Newtonian fluids and non-Newtonian fluids in a detailed manner. Okay, now non-Newtonian fluids. What are Newtonian fluids? Newtonian fluids, the examples that I told you: petrol, kerosene. Next, we are going for the other parameters like oils, like etc. Examples of here non-Newtonian fluids. What are the examples of non-Newtonian fluids? Are simply peanut butter, starch, etc. Okay, these are non-Newtonian fluids, my dear students. Okay, now we are going for the very important topic, that is the measurement of the, okay, so here what I have explained, those concepts, Newtonian and non-Newtonian. The examples of the Newtonian fluids are petrol, kerosene, mineral oils, water, salt, solutions, or examples of Newtonian fluids, while ink, starch, peanut butter, and the examples are other kind. Okay, now what are the methods of measurements. Okay, so the methods of measurement or principles are very very important. The first one is the flow through the capillary tube. Okay, so we are going to study the various types of methods here. First one is the flow through the capillary tube, then drag experienced by the falling ball through the liquid. Okay, and third one is the drag experienced by the one of the concentric cylinders flowing, okay, fluid between them when other cylinder is rotating, my dear students. Okay, but these two methods are very very important, that is flow through capillary tube and drag experienced by the falling ball through capillary tube. Flow through capillary tube is also called capillary tube viscometer. This one is called falling spear or ball viscometer. Okay, now what is the that is flow through the capillary tube. Okay, now if I am going to take it any flow through the capillary tube and capillary tube viscometer, just I am deriving in a detail manner, my dear students. Okay, first one is capillary tube viscometer. Capillary tube viscometer. In this particular capillary tube viscometer, okay, I am going to take it a certain liquid inside the vessel. Okay, if I am going to take it any particular liquid inside the vessel. Okay, so here whatever the capillary tube and how it will be there in the capillary tube viscometer, let me depict you. Okay, see here the capillary tube viscometer. I am going to take it a general, this is a jar, this is a capillary tube. This capillary tube is having a radius of a, and okay, that is a radius of a, and length of the capillary tube is L, my dear students. Okay, now what does the formulation means? The viscosity mu of a stream, that is the viscosity, the liquid is flowing here, the viscosity mu of the Newtonian fluid through the capillary tube. This is the capillary tube, okay, the viscosity mu, of the stream flow of a Newtonian fluid, okay, through a capillary tube of radius a and length L is given by mu equal to, that is equal to pi into del p, okay, that is equal to pressure drop, okay, into a power 4 by 8 VL, my dear students. Okay, where delta P is the pressure difference between the ends of the tube. Okay, now I have taken this one. Okay, pressure difference, here I have collected the liquid like this. Okay, the pressure difference between the ends of the tube, this is called del, that is P. Okay, del P, my dear students. And what is V? V is nothing but the volume rate of a flow through the tube, and V is the volume rate of the flow through the tube, my dear students. Okay, and this formula, whatever the formula you are going to get, the formula mu equal to pi into del P, okay, into a power 4 by 8 into VL is called V into L, and this formula is called Huygens for Poiseuille formula. Okay, this formula is called, okay, what is this formula? Huygens Poiseuille formula. Huygens Poiseuille formula, my dear students. This formula. Okay, this formula is we can represent in terms of the diameter also. What is the diameter? D equal to 2a, a equal to, okay, so we are going to take it in terms of radius. Okay, so here this is d square, so we are going to take it in terms of the diameter also. Okay, so if I am going to take it in the diameter also, it will be in the form of d power 4. Okay, we can represent in both fashions, either in the areas or we can take it in the form of the diameters also. So here we can, because a is proportional to, that is d, so a here means we are going to take it not only mu, we can take it mu is proportional to a power 4, or you can take it mu is proportional to diameter also, d power 4, because why I'm going to use this relation means the problems that has been asked over here. Okay, now this is a capillary tube viscometer, my dear students. Okay, so this concept I have studied, finished over the flow, this one. Okay, the flow that is through the capillary Tube. Next, drag experienced by a falling ball through a fluid. Okay. Now, how the drag is experienced, let me tell you. Okay. Now, and this particular method, which I'm going to call this particular method, is called okay. And that particular method is very very important. And this is called falling sphere or falling ball viscometer. Listen very my dear students. This is pretty important. Falling ball or falling sphere viscometer. Okay. Now I'm going for this particular viscometer in a detailed manner. Okay. This is called falling sphere viscometer. Okay. Now falling sphere viscometer. Now in this, what I'm going to take it means I'm dropping a ball inside the viscometer. See this, I'm going to take it a viscometer. The shape of the viscometer is very here. Okay. This is a general viscometer in which I'm dropping here. I'm dropping a ball here. Here, this is I'm dropping a ball in this particular viscometer. It consists of the liquid, my dear students. Now, what are the changes that are happening? Let me depict you. This is a ball. This ball is in sphere angle. This ball is in where? It is in a sphere angle, my dear the students. Okay. Now, how the things are going to be changing? Let me depict you. Okay. As I am throwing the ball inside this particular spherometer, then what happens? The liquid is bouncing back. Okay. The liquid is bouncing back. Okay. Now we are going to study the responsibles. Okay. The force responsible for the movement of the ball. So when I'm dropping this ball inside this particular liquid, the force responsible for the movement of the okay, that is ball. Now here important equations. Force responsible for the movement of a ball, my dear students. So now what are the force that is responsible for the movement of the ball? And that force is F, my dear students. F is equal to, the formula is the weight of the ball, that is downward direction, and liquid buoyancy. Because the weight of the ball, then what happens? The liquid will flows because of the ball dropping. The liquid flows upside. So liquid buoyancy, that is acting upward direction. So weight of the ball and liquid buoyancy means the liquid buoyancy, because of the liquid buoyancy, what happens? The ball is dropping, then the liquid is displaced to southern other angle. So here weight of the ball is as usual, the weight of the ball, this is as usual, minus liquid buoyancy is nothing but weight of the displaced liquid, weight of the displaced liquid, and weight of the ball is nothing but a mass. Okay, that is equal to mass of the ball into G minus mass of the liquid into G. Okay, but here the volume mass is what? Density is equal to mass per volume. Okay, so mass is equal to density into volume. So here what I am going to take it, here I have taken the parameter, and that particular parameter is the density of the ball into volume of the ball into G minus the density of the liquid into volume of the ball into G, my dear students. Okay, now here from this force F is equal to, okay, F is equal to, that is the density of the ball minus density of the liquid, okay, into volume of the ball. Volume of the ball is volume of the sphere, 4 by 3 pi r cube into G, my dear students. This is a formula for the force. Now substitute this formula for the force in the coming equations. Okay, before going to get that particular equation, just I am going to depict you another important parameter. Okay, now what are the conclusions we had drawn over here? Okay, in a falling ball viscometer, we are going to use the theorem, and that particular theorem is called Stokes theorem. Okay, so what the Stokes theorem is saying that based upon the Stokes theorem, because falling ball, that is falling sphere viscometer, depends upon the theorem, and that theorem is called Stokes law or Stokes theorem. What does the Stokes theorem is saying that the rate of, okay, the falling ball or sphere, the rate of falling ball or sphere is nothing but the velocity which is directly proportional, okay, or we can say that the uniform rate of the falling ball or sphere is proportional to the force responsible for its movement, and indirectly proportional to the, okay, viscosity, and indirectly proportional to the viscosity and the radius of the ball, my dear students. Okay, now taking out this proportionality outside, v equal to, I told you that 1 by 6 pi into f by mu r. From this bring back f outside. If I'm bringing back the f, this is the velocity. Now I bring back the velocity relation. Now already we got the formula for what? F in the previous. Now substitute this f here, my dear students. Then velocity, which is equal to, you are going to get the formula will be, okay, so f is what the formula is, so 4 pi r cube into g into density of ball minus density of liquid divided by 3 into 6 pi into VR. So finally, this you are getting, this is velocity. Okay. So here, what I'm going to get, I'm going to get, bring back the mu outside. Okay, to bring back the mu. This I'm going to bring back here mu outside. Mu equal to, what is the formula? F by 6 pi VR. Substitute V velocity. This is what? This is nothing but here. This is what? Mu, my dear students. Mu. So here mu equal to, final formula is 2 by 9, 2 by 9 into density of the ball minus density of the liquid into r square into g by v, my dear students. Okay, so here mu, the dynamic viscosity, is indirectly proportional to the velocity. The dynamic viscosity is indirectly proportional to the velocity. Now what is the relationship between the dynamic viscosity is indirectly proportional to the velocity? Now what is the relationship between this is velocity, what is the relationship between the velocity, the dynamic viscosity, means kinematic viscosity, and dynamic viscosity? That also I'm bringing back. Okay, now I told you that the dynamic viscosity is inversely proportional to the velocity, but I told you one more important thing is that the kinematic viscosity is okay, that is whatever the expression you are going to get, have used one more expression, my dear students. Okay, what is that expression? The kinematic viscosity is directly, which is nothing but mu by rho. So here the kinematic viscosity is directly proportional to mu. So by taking these particular two equations, then what happens? So the mu is the kinematic viscosity is directly, means it is indirectly proportional to the what, my dear students? It is indirectly proportional to, okay, see here the value is what? The kinematic viscosity. Okay, or we can say with respect to the velocity. Okay, or the kinematic viscosity is indirectly proportional to the velocity, my dear students. With that we are completed, okay, the kinematic velocity and the velocity relations. Okay, with that we are completed about the concept based upon the things that are related to the measurement of viscosity. In the next session we are going for the problems, my dear students. Okay, thank you.